Да, музыку слышу. Музыку слышу. А меня слышно? Три, раз, два, три, проверка связи. Окей, спасибо. Good morning, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. We are beginning our online conference in the framework of the business mission for fishing, shipbuilding, and maritime companies. Our conference will last 2 hours. We have 2 YouTube channels in Russian and in English. The agenda of the conference is on the website of the conference and on YouTube channels. Dear colleagues, you can ask your questions in writing and I will pass them on to our speakers. So let us begin. Export is an important element for the development of the manufacturing economy, and over the recent years, thanks to our exporters, Russia has made important strides in that area. And of course, a central element of this It's a Russian Expert Center. The Russian Expert Center is the organizer of this conference, and it is my great pleasure to give the floor for welcoming address to the participants to Sergey Vologodsky, Vice President of the Russian Export Center. Sergey, good morning. The floor is yours.
Уважаемым спикерам, в том числе из разных стран. У нас тут присутствует два торпеда, и Александр Владимирович, Александр Витальевич из разных стран, которые, собственно, участвуют в нашей
to open this conference, and I would like to welcome all of the participants. We are starting our business mission in the framework of fishing, shipbuilding, and maritime companies. Additional format, we're doing this online, and of course, we can't wait for the epidemiological situation to get better, and as a result, we will be able to meet offline. But we are doing what we can under these circumstances, considering the COVID-19 pandemic. We're doing our best to support and maintain our business communications and keep meet foreign buyers. This online format to be a reliable mechanism for having such meetings. We've already had 2 business missions using this format, and this allows us to support our exporters, given the restrictions that have been imposed due to the pandemic. Despite the difficulties of last year that we have all felt, we can say that our export has grown nearly 40% and is now $734 million. And there is a potential for further growth, at least compared to 2018, when the total exports were about $2.2 billion. And if we can look at the key areas where we export, this includes European countries that accounted for more than half of all of the export supplies. Such countries as Norway, Germany, and Korea are amongst our customers. Speaking about the support measures that have been offered by the Russian Export Center to our exporters in the field of shipbuilding and support for boat, we've provided support in the amount of just over $2 million, and this included support during negotiations, especially when it comes to contracts exceeding $2 million in their value. We've also helped for potential buyers of Russian goods that are in demand abroad, and we've had some successes there with contracts exceeding $300,000 each. In March of 2020, we had a very successful exhibition in Stockholm, Sweden, all for the seas. 9 Russian exporters, and as a result of this, as a follow-up, we supported exports of over 134 million rubles in total value. I would like to note that there's been some successful cases there, and as a result of that exhibition, the company that is taking part in this business mission has expanded its presence in Europe and has supplied its motorboats to Finland, Slovenia, and Sweden, worth millions of dollars. And these are very good examples, and we would like to hope that the company is going to plow ahead and will expand its presence in European countries. Another important case is the Samara motorboat factory, Salute, and they have sold over 50 million rubles worth of products. What I would like to note is that at the end of 2020, Russian Export Center launched a new platform for exporters that provides a comprehensive digital ecosystem, providing access, one-point access to all government services that will support exporters trying to reach out to their customers. We are providing a full range of services that we add to our platform of export, and we have the ability to provide our clients with country reports and with services that allow the exporters to select the best and most potential and promising exporters. We've also been providing support services, and all of the participants of today's business mission have already filed their applications without having to use paper. They've done it in a paperless format, and so we can expand this one-point platform. At this conference, we're going to tell you about the support measures that our Russian exporters can use. We offer that as part of the activities of the Russian Export Center, and our speakers will tell you about their successful cases and campaigns on offering their products on international markets. On my personal behalf, on behalf of the Russian Export Center, I would like to wish you successful negotiations, good deals, and very successful results after this mission. Thank you, Sergey. Thanks a lot. We have been operating under the conditions of the pandemic, but despite that, I think we've built everything we need to support, thanks to the efforts of the Russian Export Center, and I think we've handled these troubles quite successfully.
Я благодарю вас и передаю слово Алексею Александровичу Тернавскому, управляющему директору бизнес-блока WEB.RF. Алексей Александрович, пожалуйста, вам слово.
And now, on to our next speaker.
Я думаю, что вы, уважаемые участники конференции, дополните, пожалуйста.
And I hope you're going to share your thoughts with our participants. Thank you very much for giving me the floor. I would like to welcome you on behalf of WEB.RF. It's a state and a head institution of development in Russia. We try to achieve goals in the field of economic development, support for maritime and shipbuilding industries. This is one of our priorities. And right now, with the support of WEB.RF, we have implemented a number of projects worth over 400 rubles, nearly $1 billion. And the Russian industry of shipbuilding and all of the adjacent industries have received a boost for their development. That is associated with the development of the Northern Sea Route. The President of Russia has set the goal of reach volume of shipment exceeding 80 million tons, primarily by shipping hydrocarbons from the Arctic fields. And in that regard, builders, with our support, have been creating a fleet of multi-tonnage vessels. New icebreakers are being built. In the past, this type of construction of large tonnage ships in that volume had never been done. And once implemented, this would allow our shipbuilders to new competences and expand the export potential of the industry.
At the same time, WEB.RF and we have all the tools we need to support export projects. And on behalf of our organization, we would like to wish all participants of this conference a fruitful day, fruitful conference. I really hope you have every success in all your deals and endeavors. And on our part, we'd be happy to support you in every way we can. Thank you. Alexey, thank you very much. Indeed, funding of export deliveries is an integral and very important part of our economy. It helps us to stay competitive. So thank you once again. And I think that Mr. Ladyshev, Grigory Ladyshev, is going to continue this topic. He represents Russian Export Center. So Grigory, Russian Export Center, as we understand, and as we already mentioned, is the key element. It's the core of the export process. It's the key organization that supports Russian export. So plenty of support measures, monetary, educational programs, conferences such as ours, business missions arranged by the Russian Export Center. So could you please tell us what are the measures that are there? I'm sure that everyone knows already about those measures, but do tell us once again what Russian Export Center does to support this process. Hello, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity, and indeed, we provide every support we can, social, financial measures, and today I would like to talk about key measures. I would like to tell you how are we supporting export. Just once again, in a nutshell, I would like to say that REC is part of a bigger organization, and we have several institutions. Russian Export Center plays a traditional role. We are developing power export. We also help exporters and support them in every way we can. And we are also in charge of subsidies available to exporters. There's a financial Podrozheksim bank. This bank helps support export as well. And Russian Insurance Company. It's an organization that covers commercial and other risks. So basically, the risks are related to failure of vendors or suppliers to deliver. We also have some educational support. We have different schools, and we have online and offline courses. We have special programs in place so that exporters could improve. So, to start from the very beginning, at this stage, we have a number one very popular measure that we have, non-financial support. We assist them in a contract process and many others. So this is stage one. Most of the clients that come to us, that they have never dealt with export before. So that's what the story looks like. To help companies understand what information they need, what the key markets are, we are actively developing online services. We have a website, and Sergey was absolutely right. We now have a platform called My Export. So here you can see statistics, what barriers are there, and if you're delivering to this or that country, what you might be faced with, what are the competitors with respect to similar products. So basically, you can get all this information just by registering online and get access to whatever you need. Next, any company needs to find a partner, which is also very important, and REC can be helpful here as well. We can find new counterparties, we can get new contracts, because we have a whole network available to us, and I'm sure my colleague Elizaveta is going to talk more about this. And I myself am just going to describe a couple of other things. We have another service, as I said, looking for partners upon request of our exporters. And should there be a need for it, we are helping foreign companies as well from other countries. So we're looking for new counterparties and we're assisting them in every way we can. So as for entering new markets, of course, we have business missions, exhibitions, we provide consultations, we provide all the services to our exporters. Just a few examples. Here are some specific measures that we have. We are financing exhibition and trade fairs and this type of activity. And we have subsidies and some expenses, maybe written off or balanced, offset, thanks to that. Because of pandemic, unfortunately, we have fewer offline exhibitions and events, but we are hopeful that situation improves in the near future and all of this will come back. So in order to choose a proper event and to do whatever you need to join an event, you go online, you register online, you provide all the documents, and the procedure is on. So the next block would be this. This is also very important for the companies. Special measures that I mentioned. This would help you to balance your expenses. So here you can see three measures: patenting, subsidizing of transportation costs, and there's something new here. This is now true for international exhibitions and events. So on the next slide, I would like to briefly tell you about these measures in a little bit more details. As for offsetting expenses for transportation of the products of industrial matters. So here we have a lot of stages, but in order to enjoy this measure, you have to go through a special process. Usually the procedure, the tender, the sorting procedure takes place in August. And then, step by step, we get into the end of this process. So as for participation in international events, we can cover up to 700,000 rubles for SMEs, small and medium enterprises, and up to 2 million rubles for majors. We're talking about mostly events that are taking place not in Russia, but in other countries. And it should not, number of events should not exceed 3 events per year. I don't see the slide on patenting, but I'll just say it like that without the slide. It's about IP, it's about patents, we have different services for that, we're covering different fees. So, but in order to enjoy all of this, you have to provide certain documents, the list of which you can find on the website. Otherwise, we can help you at every stage of the way. The next measure is this financial support, because no big project is possible without this. So to be compatible on the market, it's not enough to come up with a good product. you have to provide a financial package as well. And here, thanks to the measures that XCR and us are providing, we can arrange this. So here's how XCR works. They can cover commercial risks. We are covering 95% of political risks. Well, that'll be significant change in legislation, legislative acts, political rights, and other things. So here we are covering 95% of all that. Commercial, that'll be bankruptcy of a global foreign company, and other things. But for commercial part, we're covering 90% of risk. So this is XCR. There's an exporter, there's a foreign company, there's a contract, and we are taking all the risks in case there's no money delivered. Actually, this allows us to improve compatibility, and it all becomes possible thanks to these factors. So some payments may be deferred, and this is safe. There'll be no problems in case currency does not arrive. It is also possible to have funding, because there's a contract, so it means first category of quality. And to a big extent, XCR helps you work with loans. Oftentimes, banks think that insurance is the only tool, is the only option. However, all of this is very important. So I thought it would be a good idea to draw attention of all the exporters to that, because I don't think 100% prepayment is that popular anymore, because there are certain risks, there are certain issues, and we knew what happened last year. A number of clients had serious issues, so I highly recommend to use this tool, XCRs, because they're as good as other credit agencies. So the next point that I wanted to talk about is attracting funding, and how this can be done through Rossexim Bank tools. We're working only with those projects that are related to export, and it's not only about trade funding, but at the same time, this is all very competitive. It's just as good. We are capable of providing funding for a foreign buyer. For example, if a foreign company, foreign buyer wants to buy something from a Russian company, and we can also ensure a loan through the bank. We can also provide, I don't think I have this slide here in my presentation, sorry about that, but we can support our clients when they need to buy materials. So before this process starts, during, and after. So we have all the tools. All financial tools are available both to exporters and to foreign buyers. Besides, we have some warranties that are used in export, tender, return of the prepayment, proper execution, commitments, and you can also get VAT back before the inspection. So we have all financial tools in place, the whole package is there, and it allows us to actually cover every step of the way when it gets to funding the contract. Besides, I would like to say that we also have subsidies for export of high-tech products, and within the framework of this, we can provide very good funding, about 3%. This is for export contracts. As for collaboration and interaction, We are trying to go digital as much as possible. However, we haven't forgotten about the offline format. So you can choose any way you like to contact us. You can go online, you can call us over the phone, you can go to website, you can talk to our partners in the regions. But in any case, you will have a dedicated manager to work only with you. There'll be a focal point helping you to solve all your questions. Should you have any questions, I'd be happy to entertain them and to take them offline. Here are my contacts on the slide. Thank you. And I'm sure that during this conference, should you have any questions, I'd be happy to help you. So thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. That was a very substantive and good presentation. I would like to say that a question has arrived for you. The question is, how do you search for foreign partners for Russian supplies? And how do you find Russian supplies for foreign buyers? The search for buyers is done using the resources of our international network. We have an office that has a lot of contacts in terms of buyers in various countries, and every request is processed individually. In some cases we use agents, in other cases we use the resources of trade missions, in other cases we use our own contacts. It's all done on an individual basis. When an exporter approaches us, when a foreign buyer asks us to find a Russian company with a matching profile, we primarily use our own database. The clients who have requested our services from us in the past, we look at the match of their economic codes, whether the matches of the foreign buyers and the local suppliers match. Plus, we also use the resource base of the expert support regional centers in order to ensure that we have a very proper coverage. Thank you very much, Mr. Ladyshev, once again for your presentation. And dear colleagues, I would like to remind you that you can ask your questions by using YouTube. Your colleague has just asked this question. Our speakers are looking forward to hearing your questions. I would like to urge you to use this opportunity, and we would be able to give you very detailed answers. Dear colleagues, we are moving on to a more in-depth industry analysis, including exporters need to export, and what recommendations can be given to them to ensure that their efforts are more efficient and productive. I'd like to give the floor now to Alexandr Pinsky, who is the director of branch center MARINET, its CEO, and he will be talking about high technology for the maritime industry. Mr. Pinsky, the floor is yours. Hello, dear colleagues. I would like to request that you put on my presentation so that I can give you some visual feed. In a nutshell, MARINET is an organization that is supporting high technologies for the maritime industry. That includes a lot of research as part of the national technology initiative. If you can put on my next slide, I would appreciate it. Thank you. This national technology initiative has the goal of supporting primarily those companies and projects that are the most promising areas worldwide, something that opens up new markets, something that creates new business models. Generally speaking, MARINET is involved in developing various technologies for the maritime industry, primarily high-tech. These technologies usually include several different areas. This includes such an area as digital navigation, anything that's related to information and communication systems for the maritime industry, including what they call e-navigation, a single information exchange space, data services, telecommunication and navigation services. And this is hinging on the revolution that is now taking place in the maritime industry due to the penetration of the telecommunication services into the maritime industry, which opens up broad opportunities for using computerized systems and services. The second area is the technology dealing with the development of maritime resources, search for natural resources, mineral resources, use of aquatic renewable energy sources, underwater or submerged robotics that would be needed to support the infrastructure. The third area is called innovation shipbuilding. This primarily means high-tech, energy-efficient vessels, icebreakers, and the ships that are built using new materials and robotized equipment. These are the things that are very much in demand on the global market, and they open up new types of opportunities for further developing the shipbuilding industry and the fishing industry. And the fourth area is the area dealing with the development of the human capital. That is, we are creating new jobs, new professions, and new tools that would help us develop new experts for the industry. Now, I would very briefly tell you about some cases of such products. MARINET has implemented over 100 projects. Dozens of products have been put on the market, and I will just quote and cite some of the examples that are very much in demand by the fishery industry. And these are now being consumers in Russia and abroad. And the first example is the Genex portal. This is a system that is using the data received from remote Earth, various types of data information, and then use this information to build forecasts. Plus, geo support services are offered in terms of navigation and information about the ice situation on the sea and aquatic bioresources in various water areas. And this is quite unique in today's world, and you won't be able to find these services anywhere other than outside, or rather within this port is a system for autonomous navigation, a system that allows you to remotely control ships and vessels and boats. And this is one of the priority development area in the maritime industry. And this is very relevant for the fishing industry and the fishing fleet, because it allows you to reduce the impact of the human factor on operations and improve control of ship owners. This is very important for fishing companies. We've heard about tragic incidents that have been taking place and continue to take place, unfortunately, in the fishing industry. Something that could have been prevented if we used this autonomous navigation system. Russia is a pioneer in this sense. According to the decree of last year's December, we are the first country that allowed to use autonomous navigations and autonomous vessels as part of its national experiment. And in that sense, only our company has the practical experience in using such systems, and we would be willing to offer our systems to foreign consumers, especially considering that what makes our systems unique is that we are compliant with international regulations. We do not require any changes made to the treaties. Secondly, we want these systems to be used on existing vessels and existing ships, and this opens opportunities for using these systems in Russia and in other countries. Another example is the multi-frequency sonar, side-scanning sonar, and this is a solution for the fishing industry that allows you to detect shoals of fish, accumulation of fish in those areas. This is very important for the fishing industry. Usually, they use such sonars for military purposes, but this side-scanning sonar is probably one of the very few civilian products and solutions that's available on the civilian market, and this is something that Russia offers to its domestic and international buyers. Another example of technologies that we work with, we've talked about navigation, we've talked about sonars. Now let's talk about acoustic extra freezing. This is a technology that allows you to freeze products while preserving their properties, something that is either caught or produced at a farm that can be applied to fish, to roe, caviar, and these are just examples of how this AF technology allows you to preserve the properties of the food products, such as fish and seafood, and this is very important, and this makes the products more valuable for the consumers and for the producers. And what is important to note about this technology is that it can be added to the existing array of refrigerating equipment that current fishing vessels use, and this is the technology that can be made available not just in Russia but also abroad, and that would be something that is a very unique and one-of-a-kind system that can improve the efficiency of the businesses, customers. The next example, the final one, that has something to do with industry, it's the product that allows you to work with the fish feedstocks made by a St. Petersburg company. It allows you to tackle two problems. One of them is the disposal of waste from processing of fish feedstocks. This is a technology problem, and it is a burden on the companies that are required to process such products. And the second part allows you to increase the depth of processing of the products, and as a result you get proteins and hydrolysates and fish oil, so that you can earn more on the amount of fish that you catch. The first implementation results are saying that you can increase several-fold availability of the fish products thanks to this deep processing technology, and although these technologies are used in several countries, we are at the forefront and one of the most advanced nations that can do this. And of course, we are prepared to offer these technologies not just in Russia and abroad. This brings me to my last slide, And this completes my presentation about what Russian high-tech companies can offer to its maritime customers and fishing customers. And we are ready to cooperate and engage in such collaborations with various consumers of such products in Russia and abroad. What makes our technologies and products unique is that they are one-of-a-kind and unparalleled type of technologies, or state-of-the-art technology and solution that can be very quickly used to improve the effectiveness of the business for a broad range of customers in Russia and abroad. And that completes my presentation. Thank you so much. Alexander, thank you so much. Russia is indeed a country that has always been renowned for its high-tech solutions in a number of areas, and I'm confident that we will see a lot of success in this field as well. Can you please tell me, based on your rich experience in working with lots of high-tech companies, can you provide at least one recommendation along the following lines? What should a Russian exporter do in order to work most effectively and efficiently as an exporter, or conversely, what they shouldn't be doing? Of course, that's a very broad topic, but if you can at least provide one recommendation, that would be very important. Based on your very rich experience, I can tell you this. Successful experience of successful companies says that you need to create a product that will be gearing towards an international market. When you are trying to do something primarily for the local consumers and for the government, and then try to sell that abroad, that's not a very effective way forward. I'd like to say that we need to understand what the world market needs right now in terms of what kind of demand there exists, what kind of competition there is, and what will make your product competitive. If you do this, we can automatically create a product that will fit, a product that will be fitting for the Russian market as well. So we are doing both and killing two birds with one stone. Thank you very much, Mr. Pinsky. I couldn't agree more with you. I totally support what you're saying, and I believe that the competitiveness of your product is probably the key, fundamental prerequisite for successful exports and development of the companies. Thank you very much. And I would like to remind you that, and we are waiting for your in-depth industry analysis.
Actually, we are now getting more specific. So today we are going to talk about the Swedish experience. Let's look at that. It has rich experience and it imports and exports ships. So what the situation is like with import and export of products in Sweden? Perhaps there's a piece of advice. Perhaps would know more about what is in demand. So on this note, I would like to give floor to our trade representative in Sweden, Mr. Abramov. Alexander, the floor is yours. Dear colleagues, hello, thank you very much. Good morning, thank you for this opportunity. So I would like to ask our technical staff to put my presentation on the screen. Well, first of all, speaking about Sweden, I would like to say that Sweden is one of the leaders in the world in terms of small craft. And if you take a look at the population and boats balance, so as you can see, Sweden is number one in terms of this balance. and it has left behind Norway and Finland. So in Holland it's 23, in Spain it's 236 people per boat. So in Russia it's 73 people per boat. So that's the balance. 16% in Sweden, 16% of families have different boats, and around 30% have one or more, or two or more boats, and has to do with different factors. For example, remoteness from water, but actually water is all around. Plenty of lakes, rivers, not far to the sea, so you can take your boat anywhere, even if it's small. So in line with the Swedish legislation, there's no need to get license for a small craft if it's up to 12 meters and the width is up to 4 meters. At the same time, to navigate, you have to comply with two requirements. You have to be older than 15 years old and you have to be sober. At the same time, legislation does not include registration if your boat is up to 15 meters, if it is not used for commercial purposes. And on this slide, we can see what the changes are. Well, basically, you can see the dynamics, how the balance has been changing. Here are some different types of boats and rowboats. As for export, import, and the existing state of play, so to speak, what is happening between Russian private companies, well, most of them, of course, represent small and medium enterprises, and export and import indicators. In 2019, as for Russian export to Sweden amounted to only dozens, not hundreds, something between 30 to 40 small craft delivered to Sweden. But as for 2020, this has already, well, according to our statistics, around 900 small craft. It's quite interesting, it's quite peculiar that today companies that are represented on the Swedish market and have business there, in 2021, Swedish customers have already exhausted all the quotes that were available for this period. So everything that has been delivered has been in demand. So this is done. We are mostly talking about small craft made of aluminium, 5 to 11 meters long. At the same time, it's quite interesting to see why this dynamic has been behaving like that. We're talking about almost 1,000 small craft in 2020, but jointly with REC, Russian Export Center, we've arranged an exhibition, and it has been quite an event. The representation of Russian companies has been quite good. We're still getting calls from interested companies from Sweden because they are interested in importing some of the products that we offer during the exhibition. There are some country-specific things to be taken into account. So what does a Russian company need to do if you're in this business? I mean, what's the success recipe would be? Well, first of all, you have to have English-speaking personnel in charge of communication, and so that they could actually promptly respond, communicate, because we have some success stories, but also have some failures. Most of the failures have to do with communication. It's not about the quality of the product, it's about communication. As I was saying, Russian companies have learned to manufacture really good products. I myself is a captain, so I like boats, and I can tell you from a first-hand experience that I was pleasantly impressed. It was really great to see the quality of Russian boats. So it's about making prompt decisions, it's about prompt response to your client's needs, and no doubt you would need to be involved in this. I mean, an export manager would have to be working closely with foreign clients and the management of the company and the whole personnel, including engineers and others. They all have to be involved in this process. Oftentimes, what we saw, and we sometimes still see, that if there's no response for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and the issue was quite simple, it creates an impression that the company doesn't want to talk to you. So, and it results in that other companies don't want to deal with Russian companies. So I would echo what my colleagues already said. You mentioned this system when you are ensuring political risks. It's the XCR, the Export Insurance Agency of Russia. What I can say is that Swedish clients that have just started working with or are about to start working with Russian companies, I think this would be of interest to them, because political risks are, of course, very important, and it's an open secret that political situation presently is not that good. So in terms of deliveries and some warranties and guarantees, they want to be sure that they will get some compensation in case if or something happens. They want to be insured, they want to have something to rely on. So how different boats are sold in Sweden? How is it different from the Russian reality? Most of Russian companies ask for 100% prepayment for their product, and this is a mandatory requirement. At the same time, many foreign companies, not only Swedish companies, but any European business, they used to a different kind of business model. Let's say a Swedish customer wishes to buy a small craft over 5 meters long, for example. He goes to the dealer, he pays 15 or 20% of down payment, and the rest, for that he will have a loan for, let's say, 2-3% per year for any period of time. Well, presently, there are exceptions, of course, but presently we can't provide such conditions. So I think the Russian export system has to address this. They have to provide something similar for Russian companies. So here on this slide, in the left column, you can see number of exported boats to Sweden. Well, as for statistics itself, I must say that most of small craft, Russian-made small craft, they go to Sweden through the Baltic countries, and not only. So, from the legal and physical standpoint, small craft are delivered to this or that country, and then it goes further. So Swedish companies are not yet prepared to work with Russian companies directly because of the risk that I've just mentioned. So they prefer delivery contracts. They have logistic hubs, and for that they are using Baltic companies and other countries, other hubs. Sometimes it's former USSR republics. They don't have language barriers, so it's much easier for them. And going back to export, well, it has been more or less stable for quite a number of years now. And we're talking about, give or take, 2,000 boats. And manufacturing of any kind of product in Sweden, for example, it's very costly. Both the process itself and labor as well. All of it is very expensive. So sometimes we witnessed decline in production lines, and sometimes they moved production lines to other countries, or we saw even cases when production line was shut down. As for products, goods, unfortunately, not all of it is well represented, and unfortunately to us, this is happening, and at the moment, the potential profit lies with e-transportation. There are two companies in Sweden that deal with big ships with much bigger thrust. So we know that they have a lot of customers, and it's an upward trend. As for the trade mission in Sweden, we are currently working on this as well. We are trying to attract much more, and negotiations are underway to manufacture more of small craft in Russia with Swedish investments. And thanks to some events held by REC, now some Swedish companies are feeling more confident that they can and they should work with Russia. They should get involved with Russia, and I really hope that this is going to go really well, and next time we'll report more. So thank you very much. I think I'll stop there. Well, Alexander, thank you very much. This was very interesting, very informative. Could you tell us, please, Russian export of small craft? I mean, it's a huge market. 18,000 small craft. That's how much Sweden is acquiring. So what's the most efficient way to enter this market? Let's say you have English-speaking personnel, you have the product. What could you do? Something doable, workable, efficient. Well, first of all, I must say that all the companies that have entered the Swedish market, well, let's say by then, at that moment, they had already enough experience. They've been experienced in manufacturing small craft, and they sold them in Russia. So you would need relevant experience, and the quality of the product must meet a lot of requirements. You have to have all the certificates, and REC has all the support tools and measures in place. So, in response to your question, I could say you probably should entertain the idea of, well, even though it's more about our major companies, majors usually think in monetary terms, profit and other things, but as for the small craft, the only option would be the product, the quality of this product, and feedback and possibility of addressing all the issues and eliminating all the deficiencies in a timely fashion. Of course, nothing is perfect in this world, so one of the requirements, I would say, and what the Swedes are focusing on most of all, that'll be the feedback and the ability to respond promptly. Well, thank you very much. One more question from Design Bureau Vostok. Can you say that Russian and Swedish relationship are limited to small craft? Well, actually, that was something that I wanted to start with, but I didn't want to waste your time. Well, seems to me that the main market for us here in Sweden is small craft indeed, because fishery, and actually in the beginning we've been saying that fishing in terms of export in monetary terms, that'll be what, Germany, Norway, and other countries that require big vessels, plus Korea, because they have a lot of fishing. This industry is huge. But I would say that for us in Sweden, well, not only in Sweden, but probably in all Scandinavian countries, well, apart from Norway, this is a very promising market to us. Well, it doesn't mean that you don't try anything else. But as for this market, I think we have a lot of measures in place and a lot of incentives. So that's why companies are willing to buy something from the European countries, European Union countries. Well, Alexander, thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation and thank you for your answers. So you're welcome anytime to contact the trading mission in Sweden. And the next presentation would be by our next speaker, and we're going to stay in Sweden for that, so to speak. So now we will give floor to our participant, who considers to be himself an exhibitor, and he thinks that this is a really good marketing tool. So I'm happy to give floor to Hasle Sofrenberg. He's a project manager on the international exhibition Everything for the Sea. And according to the information that we have, in Russia, 1 square meter of exhibition area generates contracts for approximately $20,000. So that'll be 1.5 million rubles. So that's within the timeline of 6 months after the exhibition takes place. So exhibitions are a very good tool. It's really good for marketing. So today we'll be talking about what needs to be done to increase sales. So now we are going to hear a little bit more about opportunities. So we'll learn more about different tools.
Hello, good morning. Hello, and please, your speech, you are on the stage. Thank you very much.
Let me see here. I would like to have my presentation somewhere. Okay. Just a second. Okay.
Hans, you can speak.
Yes, like that. Just wanted to see my slideshow also, so that's why.
No. This is now everybody see the page number 1, and you can just next page or next slide, and you can speak easily, please.
Okay, thank you very much. So first of all, I want to say thank you for making the possibility for me to make this presentation. Allt för sjön, the Stockholm International Boat Show, was established already in 1922. So next year we will celebrate 100 years. So we are a boat show from the origin, and we are the largest and most powerful boat show in Sweden. Every year in the beginning of March, we have this boat show. So now what happened last year? We had the corona pandemic coming in, so all the boat shows were stopped, and of course we couldn't foresee it will last for so a long time. But we have to communicate to our consumers, and we have to be a strong marketing tool also for our exhibitors that we work with. So what could we do? Well, we thought of making this mobile first solution. It's very important to have contact, and everyone in Sweden, more than 90% has a mobile and definitely a smartphone. So we were thinking about, okay, let's develop this app that we call the Båtappen. That is a virtual tool. So the strong positive thing with the boat app is that we are every year 365 days, 24 hours, 7 days a week, we can connect with boaters in Sweden. That is the main, and the thing is that this will be the definite complement to the boat show that is run 10 days a year. So please, let me then present next slide. The boat app was already launched this year as a new venture and will be the seasonal kickoff for boating. As I said before, complement to the boat show. Listen, it will be all the that is made by dealers or different kind of businesses in the market, and when they are a part of this boat up, they can make actions directly and to the consumers. The app will bring together companies, organizations, product launches, news, offers, interesting articles. It's like a magazine for the app viewer, and much more. And a very important thing is also the event calendar, because it will highlight all activities and product launches that are made during the season. The participation in the app is valid from now, March the 13th, all 1 year till March next year, 2022, the entire boat season. Yeah, so here's an example of what we can see, what you can see in the boat app. First of all, because it's personalized, We will choose whether you are interested in motorboating, in sailing, in accessories, in fishing, whatever you are. When you personalize what you like, the app will show actually what you want to see. So, for example, when you go into the articles, it will show you the most smart articles for you. It will also show the most directed offers for you that you are interested in. You have the event calendar where you will see what is happening on the marinas. For instance, if there is a new product launch, you will see what is happening and where it is happening. So what can you see in the app as an exhibitor and as a company? Of course, you will get detailed information about the statistics. Who is going into the app and who are directed to your website. An important function is call to action, because it's for you as an exhibitor is to create content that leads to sale and a new member, or create customer awareness about your brand. Under several of the categories, there is a call to action button. For instance, buy now, read more here, contact us. You as an exhibitor choose whether the button should lead to your exhibitor page in the app, an online store that you have in your country or whatever it is, a web page or email or other channel. We know also that the viewers like videos. As an exhibitor, you can upload videos to be listed on your exhibitor page or under each product you upload. So the viewer will see your products with videos as well, if you want it. You will also see it's sorted. So if, for instance, if you will search for something, you will search for a specific company, and you know the letter of it, it's sorted by A to Z. Very smart searching. Categories. All content that you post as an exhibitor must be matched to the areas of interest that the visitor chooses when registering. That is when it is getting personalized. It is the choice of categories that creates the personalization of the visitor's homepage. Visitors can change the choice of categories at any time and can always choose to see everything under each category. There will be a limit to how many categories you as an exhibitor can choose for your content. For instance, if you're a motorboat company, you list yourself as motoring, perhaps accessories, or fishing. So you choose a number of categories. So what can we offer here? We can offer you to what we call the Anchor Up package. It's just a name for our offer. So you have, first of all, you have your product information. You can show the news of your brand if you have new products. If you have a specific offers, a campaign, for instance, with the new compliments or with the you can show in the event calendar and all the contact info, and also of course where on the map. And if you have different readers, for instance in Sweden, they are also listed. So all these are content that's part of what we call the anchor patch. In Sweden now we have the price of only 990 for participants, and it's last 1 year completed, including the boat show after.
Итак, мы предлагаем и другие возможности в нашем приложении. У вас могут быть различные виды рекламы, которые вы можете размещать. Например, если вы решите инвестировать в заставку экрана, то вы сможете при загрузке приложения видеть различного рода изображения. Вы можете также показать, где вы находитесь, есть система навигации. Можете приобретать различные уровни пользования этим приложением, уровень 1, уровень 2. Это то, что позволяет вам оплачивать рекламу в течение 1 месяца. Во многих случаях у пользователей есть возможность читать редакторские статьи. Вы можете писать статьи в приложении, и это размещается в потоке новостей. И, например, если вы проводите вебинар, то вы можете осуществлять рассказ о своей продукции и размещать это в календаре вебинара. Кроме того, мы маркетинговую работу, поскольку это очень важно для нас, и это важно для нашего выставочного мероприятия. Это является что мы проводим. Мы много инвестируем в маркетинг, и уже в середине февраля этого года мы уже начали вкладываться в различного рода рекламные кампании. И поэтому приложение Båtappen будет очень интересно всеми, кто увлекается катерами. У нас есть возможность работать с различного рода пиар и пресс-компаниями, заниматься онлайн-маркетингом, осуществлять поиск через и осуществлять взаимодействие с различными компаниями в рамках совместных маркетинг-компаний. Уже больше 10 тысяч загрузок этого приложения было осуществлено, и планируем увеличить эту цифру до 20 тысяч, по крайней мере, до июня. Здесь мы показываем, что происходит. Это то, что у вас всегда под рукой, 365 дней в году, все время рядом с вами, и если вы хотели бы увидеть что-то, что вас интересует, когда вы находитесь на борту лодки во время лодочного сезона, например, вы хотите приобрести новый катер, яхту, или вам требуется какая-то помощь, или, может быть, вам нужно вдохновление для вашей лодочной жизни, если угодно, вы можете зайти в приложение, и вы в рамках этого приложения сможете воспользоваться этими возможностями. Я буду рад, если вы, ваши компании, станете пользователями этого приложения. Большое спасибо за возможность выступить с этой презентацией. Большое спасибо, Ханс. У нас есть один вопрос для вас. Сколько покупателей используют ваше приложение? В настоящий момент почти 10 тысяч. Около 80 тысяч. Мы считаем, сколько человек конкретно использует это приложение сейчас. Большое спасибо и хорошего вам дня. Большое спасибо за участие в нашей конференции. Спасибо большое вам. И это приложение только одной частью является нашей выставки. Я надеюсь, что в следующем году, в 2022 году, когда мы будем отмечать столетие, вы сможете к нам присоединиться. Приглашаем вас. Большое спасибо и поздравляем вас. Еще раз большое спасибо.
Уважаемые коллеги, мы продолжаем наш эфир. И сейчас мы перейдем к соседу Швеции. Еще один прекрасный рынок для российских экспортеров.
Let's discuss
Какова ситуация с импортом
another
продуктов
speaker.
Какие советы можно дать нашим экспортерам?
Let's see what's happening in Norway, and let's see what's happening on this market. And I'm happy to give floor to our next representative, Mr. Anikin. Alexander, the floor is yours. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for the invitation. I'm happy to be part of this event. I really hope that very soon our offline, person-in-person, face-to-face format will be back. And I really hope that we will soon be able to welcome you here in Norway within the framework of Not Shipping, Aquanor, and many other exhibitions. We'd be happy to see you here. These exhibitions are taking place in Norway. So in the very beginning of my presentation, I would like to say that Norway is one of the leading countries in shipbuilding, equipment, aquacultures, and other things. The companies that we have working in Norway, they have cutting-edge equipment and technology, and the products that they are producing are in demand, but the situation can always be improved. As for shipbuilding, I would like to give a brief description of this industry. In country, they are using this term that is widely used. It's called maritime industry. According to the Maritime Economics Agency, the marine industry amounts to $5 billion in US dollars. That's what we currently have, but the decline is 9%. As for deliveries of ship equipment in 2020, amounted to about 7.5 billion. More than 85% is export. So these numbers are self-explanatory. Norway is one of the most developed marine nations in the world, and their products are in high demand across the world. Maritime industry has been actively developed with support of scientific and other communities, and a number of strategic documents have been developed. Further steps and roadmaps have been also prepared. Not so long ago, the Norwegian government has approved a new maritime strategy to develop this industry further. The main objective is to make Norway #1 by 2030 in many areas, and they want to reduce number of harmful emissions. E-technology, green technology. Green technology, this is something that Norwegian maritime industry is focused on, and that is why ever since 2015 they have a green navigation program. The program is targeted at reducing number of emissions by 50% by 2030. But from green technology, Norway is actively developing and registering new solutions for autonomous vessels and ships and captain-free technology. This industry is developing at a high pace, and this is very important for the national economy and for municipalities. Export of fish and seafood based on 2020 is #3 after oil and gas. It's around $11 billion US. As for equipment for development of these industries is one of the most important areas. As for aquacultures, I must say that Norwegian companies are very much interested in implementing projects in Russia, and geography is expanding all the time. Relevant Russian companies are actively investing in Norwegian aquaculture companies. Breeding fish, for example, this business is also very important. And at the moment, there's a deficit, there's shortage of food for aquacultures. And here we have a huge potential, and we could have exported such products or feedstock to produce something like that. For example, fish flour and fish oil. In conclusion, I would like to say that apart from traditional export, I think we need to look for and search for new formats in business communities, meaning we need to implement major projects together, taking into account the specifics of Norwegian market and including all the elements and factors. I think we need to look into joint cooperation and creating joint ventures. We must understand that apart from aquacultures, some sectors, some areas in Norwegian are too heavily regulated, over-regulated. There's a negative trend that we witnessed recently. And as for the bilateral cooperation between Norway and Russia, I'm talking about delivery of ship equipment. There are some national export control rules that companies often refer to, so this is quite an obstacle, and it has a negative impact on the trade relationship between Russia and Norway. One other thing, I would like to say that it would be preferable in case if you sign a contract, conclude a contract with Norwegian counterparties and develop it further. First of all, you need to negotiate all things with a trading mission located in Norway, because it will be possible to avoid certain difficulties, and Norwegian part, before they enter into contract, they could get a permit from export control, which would result in a smoother relationship between the two counterparties. So when Norwegian company is getting something from the Russian company, of course they need to prepare, they need to do something beforehand. But for that they go to the MFA, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Norway, and oftentimes they get no permission. They're forbidden to go ahead and work any further. But in this case, they will have to pay extra for storing the equipment that is already in warehouse. Russian counterparties react negatively, badly to this kind of development. That is why we have a lot of issues. So it's the current trend on the market, and we need to mitigate such risks and conduct proper, more thorough work while preparing for any kind of relationship and contract. I would like to stop there, but just one last thing. As for corruption, it's out of the question because it has a negative impact on further development of relationship between the two parties. Norwegians are religious about this. So in order to avoid these risks in this area, it would be a good idea to study local legislation and get well prepared for entering the Norwegian market. You have to look into different legal issues, study the details, and then look into the requirements that are there. So once again, thank you for this opportunity. This concludes my presentation. Thank you. Okay, Alexander, thank you very much. This has been quite informative and to the point. One question, taking into account your good knowledge of the market, perhaps you could just once again tell us, well, from your standpoint, from your point of view, what are the most competitive products that Russian companies can enter Norwegian market with? Well, in this regard, I would like to say that, well, first of all, that would be agricultural goods and products. For example, fish oil, fish flour, different types of oils. This is all necessary to produce food for aquacultures. But at the same time, today we have even more opportunities, Well, in particular, I would like to go back to presentation made by a colleague of mine, Alexandr. We've known each other for a long time now. And today he already told us how far have we advanced in terms of technology. And perhaps this could have been applicable in fishery on Norwegian vessels. So I think this is something to ponder over. And there's a lot of food for thought here because, for example, processing technology that could have been used in Norway would have been a good opportunity, would have been a great idea. Besides, let's say, different types of underwater equipment for navigation scanning and looking for fish clusters, that would have been also a good idea. It would have been very attractive and interesting for Norwegians. And acoustic freezing is also a good idea. This is of interest for Norwegians because this would be good equipment to install on Norwegian ships. So, Alexander, thank you very much. And once again, I would like to encourage all the exporters, if they want to enter this or that market, then they need to be in close communication with the trading mission. Indeed, every country is unique. There are different peculiarities and specifics. So this might help you avoid mistakes that are oftentimes made by our exporters. Unfortunately, it happens when they enter this or that regional market, for example. So do contact trading missions in relevant countries because these are professional, real professional. They are there to support you. Well, Alexander, thank you very much. Thank you. And with your permission, I would like to give floor to our next speaker. So the next speaker is Miss Yelizaveta Zinovьeva, comprehensive support of exporters by Foreign Representative Office. She's from REC, Russian Export Center, and once again, she will tell us how Russian Export Center is supporting exporters, what is being done. So, Yelizaveta, over to you. Hello, colleagues. Andrei, good afternoon. Thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you for this opportunity. I would continue the topic that my colleagues have started earlier today because I see that there have been a lot of questions how to do this or that. So I'll be talking about that. What do we have and what we can do? We think that we are the link between foreign importers, REC, and exporters and other companies that are working in the regions. We have 11 rep offices. They are located in China, India, Germany, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, and Azerbaijan. 7 countries where our presence are in top 10 in terms of non-feedstock energy export. And for us, it is very important to be there on these markets and support Russian companies. So our representatives in other countries provide consultations. They help look for clients, suppliers upon request of a foreign client. They assist during negotiations, so on and so forth. Besides, on a continuous basis, our REC representatives in other countries organize online consultations, video conferences, well, presently it's like that. And everyone who's willing to can ask can participate and ask questions. So the main objective is to establish a direct dialogue between all the parties interested. So sometimes it's more specific or more general.
И, соответственно, мы тоже поменяли частично продуктовую линейку и подходы к работе. И поэтому мы сфокусировались на такой услуге, как поиск поставщика по запросу иностранного покупателя. Она сейчас является для нас флагманской. И, соответственно, мы отвечали предложением на спрос. Для иностранных импортеров наши представители являются своего рода точкой входа для поиска российских партнеров и, соответственно, для использования различных других инструментов РЭЦ, о которых тоже коллеги говорили, финансовых, страховых. За 2020 год у нас было более 700 запросов из всех регионов мира по различным товарным категориям. Это, если перечислять страны, это были не только страны нашего присутствия, но были также европейские страны, африканские страны, и объем контрактов по таким запросам составил более 150 миллионов долларов. Сейчас у нас на 2001 год уже порядка 300 запросов также на поиск российского поставщика. Мы видим такой спрос с тем, что импортеры, к сожалению, они знакомы с российскими производителями только по каким-то СМИ, они хотят работать с российскими компаниями, слышали, но не могут лично установить контакт. Здесь, соответственно, мы приходим им на помощь и помогаем от непосредственно самого начала, от сформирования запроса на российский товар до сопровождения и переговорного процесса. И у нас есть уже ряд запросов, которые действительно повторно к нам приходят, и повторные импортеры приходят и обращаются к нам за помощью по другим рынкам. Там, где мы не представлены, где наших представительств нету, мы развиваем нашу сеть партнеров. Сейчас в нашем контуре порядка 40 стран. Мы работаем над увеличением покрытия сети. И можно сказать, что сейчас у нас не только основные страны импортеров, но и перспективные рынки, которыми также очень активно интересуются российские компании. Мы работаем с прямыми импортерами, с торговыми сетями, с дистрибьюторами, с консалтинговыми компаниями. Цель, собственно говоря, одна – это продвижение российской продукции на зарубежные рынки. Вот, коллеги, если кратко, чем, собственно говоря, мы занимаемся, и мы готовы всесторонне помогать компаниям и оказывать им поддержку для достижения конкретных результатов и заключения контрактов. Спасибо.
Елизавета Викторовна, большое спасибо. Я хотел бы еще раз обратиться к слушателям. Пожалуйста, вы можете задать вопросы. Могу сказать о том, что Российский экспортный центр непрерывно меняется, появляются все новые и новые меры поддержки. Взаимодействие с экспортерами становится все проще и проще. Появилось единое окно. И необходимо, конечно, первое знать о этих мерах поддержки и уметь с ними работать так или иначе. Не нужно этого бояться, это действительно очень эффективная и очень мощная мера помощи для всех экспортеров. Это делают все страны мира так или иначе. Могу сказать о том, что программы поддержки экспортеров есть во всех странах мира, и в данном случае действия, которые предпринимает Российская Федерация в этом направлении, являются абсолютно правильными и абсолютно оправданными. Поэтому, уважаемые коллеги, Российский экспортный центр работает для вас, в ваших интересах. Зарубежная сеть, которую выстраивает Российский экспортный центр, тому подтверждение. Елизавета Викторовна, спасибо вам огромное за выступление. Если вопросы появятся, я непременно вам их задам. И сейчас мы переходим к кейсу. Кейс — это всегда интересно, тем более, когда это кейсы вашего коллеги, это кейсы человека, который набил себе шишки, который получил уже медали на грудь. И в данном случае я с удовольствием передаю слово Виктору Андреевичу Лидеру. Вот такая замечательная фамилия. Генеральному директору и собственнику компании «Ушаковские верфи», успешные кейсы экспортных поставок моторных яхт в страны Европы. Виктор Андреевич, пожалуйста, ваш рецепт успеха, что нужно сделать для того, чтобы получить успешный экспорт, и чего категорически не нужно делать? Пожалуйста, вы на трибуне.
Спасибо большое. Насчет медалей, конечно, немножко переборщили, но вот значок я себе уже сделал. Компания «Ушаковские верфи» производит яхты, стальные водоизмещающие яхты. С 2012 года мы уже их строим. Ну, до этого строили верфь, пару лет ушло там на проектирование, на строительство. В 2012 году мы начали производить эти яхты. Вот моя презентация появилась на экране. Вот. И, значит, с чего начали? Начали, в общем, с того, что не стали изобретать велосипед, обратились к одному из лучших, на мой взгляд, дизайнеров голландских, который нам запроектировал весь модельный ряд. Там было много разных, скажем, много разной совместной работы, но в конце концов вот остановились на так называемом New Classic, и все яхты были спроектированы, весь модельный ряд, вот они сейчас выглядят похожим образом, везде чувствуется одна и та же рука уважаемого нами дизайнера Яна Виссера. Вот. Опять же, не стали изобретать велосипед и посмотрели, как строят яхты наши коллеги. Я с 2004 года занимался брокеражем и был на всех значимых верфях в той же самой Голландии. Вот. Поэтому все как-то вот начало так складываться, что когда строили верфи, закладывали технологический процесс, было поставлено несколько важнейших задач, которые в будущем как-то само собой начали выводить нас на европейский рынок. Ну, во-первых, мы сконцентрировали полный цикл производства. Понимая на тот момент, что подрядчиков, понимающих, как нужно строить яхты в Голландии, в России мы не очень много найдем. Поэтому всех сотрудников первых отправляли на обучение в Голландию. К нам приезжали специалисты из Голландии, которые обучали наших специалистов. И это был такой очень хороший, интересный процесс. Потом в рамках кооперации с голландской компанией Superlauwersmeer мы начали строить первое судно, которое предназначалось на экспорт. Это была такая 13,5-метровая стальная водоизмещающая яхта Discovery 45. Вот. На ней мы получили полный 100% трансфер технологий. Вот. С тех пор компетенция в компании растет, и уже достаточно внутренней компетенции, пока уже никого особо на обучение не отправляем, В основном только вот выставки и ну, такое собственное развитие. Значит, начали, когда строить яхты, вот эта вот первая яхта Discovery 45 была продана в Голландию, так как она, в общем-то, была построена в кооперации, никакой проблемы или никаких особенных трудностей у нас не было. Наш голландский партнер, в общем-то, реализовал ее спокойно в очень понятные сжатые сроки. Потом, естественно, начали постоянно презентироваться на выставках. В 2014 году выставлялись на Бот Дюссельдорф, в 2020 выставлялись на Бот Дюссельдорф. И, естественно, там появлялись какие-то клиенты, с которыми вели диалог. Благо, мое проживание в Германии на протяжении 30 последних лет помогло мне изучить языки и, в общем, общаться более-менее спокойно. Поэтому как-то совершенно, даже можно сказать, неожиданно начали появляться клиенты. Следующую яхту мы отгрузили в Польшу. Потом начали строить яхты для литовского заказчика или клиента. Вот. В настоящий момент на верфи в постройке 4 проекта, которые все каким-то образом идут на экспорт. И в Латвию, и в Грецию, и в Германию. Задача была строить яхты не хуже, чем наши голландские друзья, партнеры, коллеги. Вот. Этого нам удалось. Никаких фокусов в этом нет. Мы строим, в общем-то, так же, как они, просто мы еще, может быть, не совсем настолько эффективны, но за счет того, что у нас есть преимущество по, опять же, стоимости того самого часа на верфи, который включает в себя все затраты, включая газ, свет, налоги и так далее, рабочую стоимость рабочей силы, что у нас все, в общем-то, дешевле, чем на Западе. Поэтому мы можем, естественно, либо иметь ценовую преференцию, вот, но мы выбрали другой путь. Мы больше, скажем, тратим времени на, как бы, термин вылизывания, что ли, вот этой вот самой яхты до, вот, скажем, приближенного к идеальному уровню, чтобы нигде не было пальчиков. Вот. А это очень нравится как раз требовательным иностранным потребителям. Вот. И поэтому мы не стараемся заработать каждый возможный там доллар, евро или рубль, а лучше потратим немного больше времени, зато выдадим продукт такого качества, чтобы все зацокали языками наши клиенты и с удовольствием заплатили нам ту самую цифру, которую, в общем, основные наши коллеги за такую яхту просят. Вот эта яхта ушла в Польшу. Вот. Особо хотел остановиться на проекте, который родился тоже, он рождался как-то как изначально как обычное судно, да, хаусбот. Мы понимали спрос европейский на такую продукцию в Голландии, в Германии, в Швеции той же и в Норвегии. Анализы рынка показывали, что такие суда будут очень востребованы и уже востребованы. И начали его строить в обычном исполнении, но потом было принято решение сделать его 100% экологичным, чистым и так далее. Вот в этом судне, значит, электроход, да, предусмотрено, оно на электроходу, там есть тепловой насос, работающий на энергии воды, бактерии в танках, тут дерево примененное, но такое даже не лакированное и так далее. В общем, он максимально экологичен и максимально автономен с точки зрения энергетики судна. На нем можно круглогодично проживать и путешествовать. В настоящий момент я как раз нахожусь на этом судне. Мы его тестируем уже более полугода. И в настоящее время он готов, ну не готов, а готовится к следующей навигации, в которую мы хотели бы пройтись через Европу. В прошлом году нам этого не удалось. С выставки Дюссельдорф 2020 года у нас 42 клиента, которые ждут посещения этого судна, и пока им этого не удается. Поэтому мы хотим в этом году все-таки выйти в Европу, дойти, может, до Берлина, а может и до Амстердама. Вот. В Роттердаме нас уже ждут в порту, и, в общем-то, мы теперь все вместе ждем только отмены этих ограничительных мер. Вот на этом я хотел бы попросить включить ролик, который мы подготовили, а потом продолжим.
В жизни каждого человека наступает момент, который меняет его мироощущение и вдохновляет на новые свершения. Представьте себе, что, отправляясь в путешествие, вы вольны самостоятельно прокладывать путь, принимать решения, основываясь только на собственных знаниях, принципах, желаниях. В самой западной точке России, на уникальных акваториях Калининградской области, укутанных пляжами Балтийского моря и дикими песчаными дюнами Куршской косы, существует огромное множество мест, где можно полной грудью вдохнуть романтику водной экспедиции. В одном из таких уголков в устье реки Прохладная расположена судостроительная верфь «Настоящие корабли», построенная с учетом многовекового опыта голландских судостроителей. С 2012 года компания «Ушаковские верфи» строит на этой площадке стальные водоизмещающие яхты и комфортабельные хаусботы модельного ряда Real Ships. Объединяя воедино инженерную мысль и науку судостроения с кропотливым трудом многих профессионалов, здесь создается продукт высочайшего качества, дарящий владельцу ощущение новой жизни, полной свободы и безмятежности. В каждом элементе экстерьера чувствуется частичка души мастера, в каждой детали интерьера тепло рук высококлассного ремесленника. Хаусбот Voyage 1500 Эко – это премиум-класс со стопроцентной экологичностью. В классическом исполнении хаусбот – это симбиоз яхты и дома. В нашем случае он предназначен для круглогодичного проживания и длительных путешествий. И все в нем продумано до мелочей. И все исполнено наилучшим образом. И все по-настоящему. Бренд Real Ships «Настоящие корабли» обязывает ко многому. Ушаковские верфи. Все по-настоящему.
Спасибо. Вот, ну, Этот хаусбот, кстати, хотел сказать, у кого есть желание, возможность и так далее, он у нас является демо-версией компании, и поэтому еще какое-то время будет находиться в Калининграде, его можно посещать, его можно смотреть и так далее. Вот. Сейчас, значит, перейдем к одному тоже из важных проектов. Это, значит, парусная яхта для литовского заказчика. Вот. Она в настоящий момент уже тоже построена. Мы поставляем ее без парусного вооружения и конечной отделки. Это будет производиться в Польше и Литве. Вот. Наши работы мы выполнили, и сейчас речь идет только о том, как ее теперь отсюда транспортировать. Там заказчик решает вопросы с баржами и так далее. Думаю, в середине мая ее уже отгрузим. На ней мы научились строить суда, скажем так, блочным способом. Она собрана из 5 блоков, так как ее длина 22 метра, а верфь наша строить суда такого размера не позволяет, к сожалению. Поэтому будем строить следующую верфь, и это вот проект следующих 2-3 лет. Вот так вот мы ее строили, потом укрупняли и так далее. В общем, был очень интересный процесс. Сегодня мы владеем этим процессом почти очень хорошо, и поэтому смогли выиграть заказ, ну, вернее, подряд, да, нас являемся соисполнителями в строительстве парома на электроходу для Балтийской косы. Экологически чистого парома тоже на электроходу, вот, который в настоящий момент исполняется. Там мы тоже строим это судно блочным способом. Хотел прям минутку остановиться на таком проекте. Одно судно мы уже построили в этом мае, в начале июня. Отгрузим его латвийскому заказчику. Вот. И заключили 3 контракта с хорошим крупным немецкой чартерной компанией на поставку 3 штук. Стоимость заказа около 700 тысяч евро. Вот. Сейчас как раз вот в первой стадии исполнения. Первое судно начнем где-то, наверное, через недели 2-3. Такой вот небольшой побочный продукт, значит, такая плавающая джакузи эксклюзивная, которая будет работать на прохладных пляжах Крита, и таких будет судов много. Вот. Надеюсь, что мы сможем выйти и на отели в Каннах. Наш французскоговорящий ну, специалист по продажам Канны, Ницца и так далее. Вот. И на северном побережье Голландия, Германия и так далее. Там везде это будет, как нам кажется, довольно-то, скажем, продуктом, который очень пользоваться будет спросом. Вот. К сожалению, не удалось пока ни разу сработать с РЭЦом, хотя много раз пытались и дружим хорошо. Вот. Ощущаем на себе помощь Фонда поддержки предпринимательства, но с РЭЦом, к сожалению, пока ни одной сделки не состоялось. Сейчас первый раз опять рассматривают, ну, может быть, получится с вот этим немецким контрактом. Вот. Идея хорошая. Но сделать сделку с РЭЦом задача не из легких. Благодарю вас за внимание и за возможность рассказать о нашей компании. Всего доброго.
Виктор Андреевич, спасибо вам огромное. Я думаю, что после этого выступления, несомненно, сотрудничество получит новый импульс. Скажите, пожалуйста, с Российским экспортным центром, я имею в виду, скажите, пожалуйста, ну, спасибо, очень интересно, у вас, мне кажется, прекрасные продукты, и то, о чем мы говорили до этого, главная конкурентоспособность вашего товара, рецепт успеха номер 1, о чем неоднократно говорили предыдущие спикеры. Вот в вашем выступлении, ваше выступление подтверждает целиком и полностью этот тезис. У вас очень инновационные, интересные продукты. Вот несколько вопросов к вам. Во-первых, скажите, пожалуйста, все-таки между качеством и ценой, правильно ли я понял, есть традиционный путь выхода российских компаний, которые хотят взять ценой, а вы вот так вот взяли, смело поставили амбициозную цель и выигрываете конкуренцию с помощью качества. Это так?
Совершенно правильно. По жизни не любим демпинга. Обычно, да, все хотят как-то ввязаться в ценовую конкуренцию. Мы можем тоже, но дешевле. Мы таким мерам не прибегаем. Мы пытаемся построить продукт минимум такого же качества, как у наших коллег. Вот. Иногда получается и получше кое в чем. Вот. И поэтому уходить куда-то с ценой вообще не собираемся. Она на уровне основных наших конкурентов. Вот. И если есть там небольшое отличие, то оно совершенно обосновано. Стоимость нашего часа на верфи, она действительно в 2 с лишним раза меньше, чем у наших коллег в Европе. А в некоторых странах, например, как Норвегия, и в 3 раза.
Скажите, пожалуйста, вот вы могли бы коротко сказать 2-3 главные ошибки, которые делает российский экспортер при выходе на зарубежный рынок, с вашей точки зрения? Ваш опыт.
Ну, я, наверное, не эксперт выхода на рынки. Вот. Наши конкретные плюсы, наверное, могу сказать. Все-таки, да, изначально это ставка на продукт, владение ситуацией, владение языком и владение именно рынком, понимание клиента. Мы сами ходим на яхтах, мы знаем, чего нужно, как нужно и так далее. Наверное, основной ошибкой будет выходить на рынок, скажем, не поняв, кто твой конкретный конкурент. Ой, не конкурент, а потребитель. Вот. Без понимания потребителя и без продукта с картинками какими-то, мне кажется, на рынке делать нечего. Надо все-таки создать какую-то репутацию, совершенно понятный продукт и понять, кому он нужен. И тогда будет все зависеть только от некоторых поддерживающих маркетинговых мероприятий. Вот. Но если есть продукт и понимание, для кого этот продукт, дальше уже все складывается само собой.
Скажите, пожалуйста, могу только вас поддержать. Базовые, очень понятные вещи, но, к сожалению, они действительно очень часто мы почему-то забываем. А вот у вас с этим были проблемы? Есть продукт, надо понимать продукт, надо сделать... Все очень просто. Надо иметь конкурентный продукт и понимать, что нужно... Первое, понимать, что нужно потребителю и сделать конкурентный продукт. Вот рецепт успеха от Виктора Андреевича. Виктор Андреевич, у вас с этим были проблемы вообще? Скажите, пожалуйста. С первым либо со вторым. У вас, еще раз, ваши продукты выглядят действительно очень здорово.
Нет, конкретно у нас не было. Я даже не хочу сказать, что это какая-то большая наша заслуга или еще что-то. Действительно не было. Проживая 30 лет в Европе, занимаясь из этих 30 лет 15 брокеражем, ты начинаешь, естественно, понимать, что нужно клиенту в деталях. Мы иногда за клиента можем решить много общих вопросов, и он только счастлив, что мы с него их сняли. Вот. И когда ты понимаешь, что человеку нужно, надо построить именно то, что он хочет. Может быть, сложности только в организации производства были. Но пока ты добьешься от сотрудников, чтобы они сделали именно то, что ты понимаешь, нужно клиенту.
Смотрите, если позволите еще один вопрос.
Давай.
Вы 30 лет в Европе, 15 лет вот, глубоко в отрасли в оказании услуг. А скажите, у экспортеров, у которых, к сожалению, нет такого бэкграунда, вот что бы вы им посоветовали? Как им это сделать? Вот есть компания, она вполне успешна в России, она строит суда здесь или занимается высокотехнологическими какими-то историями здесь. Но вот хочет выйти на экспорт, что, в общем, абсолютно правильно, похвально и там ясно это во всех смыслах. Вот есть у вас какой-то совет?
Есть. Вот смотрите, сейчас было много спикеров, да, например, вот я остановлюсь на торгпреде Швеции. Александр Владимирович очень активный человек. И если, например, да, у компании продукт, ну, опять же, есть инструменты Российского экспортного центра, фондов поддержки предпринимательства. Надо понять компании, вот если вы говорите, у нее есть продукт, она строит в России. Значит, она только должна понять, где они еще в Европе требуются такие. И если, например, это Швеция, да, то надо просто выходить конкретно, делать исследование этого шведского рынка, вот, и запускать туда через инструменты, которые, в общем-то, сегодня их очень много. Их очень много, надо просто ими воспользоваться. Перевести, понятно, да, перевести на языки все свои проспекты и так далее. Сделать это красиво. Опять же, фонд поддержки предпринимательства переведет вам сайт на английский язык, на шведский, на немецкий, на какой хотите. Профинансирует создание буклетов очень красивых, презентационных фильмов и так далее. Это надо просто эти инструменты все собрать и понять, куда идти, и там это все располагать.
Уважаемые коллеги, ну, смотрите, таким образом рецепт выглядит, если вы хотите выйти на зарубежный рынок, ну, в первую очередь надо понять, конкурентен ли там ваш товар, и для этого надо понимать конкурентное окружение, для этого надо понимать действительно потребности клиентов на этом рынке. В данном случае у вас есть, у вас есть собственная маркетинговая служба, у вас есть масса инструментов, у вас есть интернет, у вас есть конгрессно-выставочная отрасль. И, конечно, правильно съездить на выставки и посмотреть, что происходит на... Это наиболее, один из наиболее понятных, эффективных путей. Там все бренды вместе, все конкуренты вместе. Все можно посмотреть за 1, 2, 3 дня. Дальше у вас есть институты поддержки, есть торговые представители, есть Российский экспортный центр с сетью зарубежных представительств, который оказывает в том числе, сегодня говорили об этом наши замечательные спикеры, самые разные услуги, в том числе связанные и с поиском потребителей, и с исследованиями в области маркетинга. Пожалуйста, пользуйтесь этими инструментами, и, конечно, очень хотелось бы, чтобы у вас все получилось. Виктор Андреевич, спасибо вам огромное.
Пожалуйста.
Спасибо огромное, очень интересно. Желаем вам всяческих успехов. Я уверен, что ваши прекрасные продукты, очень разные и очень инновационные, они получат заслуженное признание на зарубежных рынках. Спасибо вам огромное за участие в конференции. Спасибо. Итак, уважаемые друзья, у нас наша программа завершена. Из вопросов, которые мы получили, был вопрос от Руслана Астафьева: поддерживает ли Российский экспортный центр участие в виртуальной выставке Båtappen? Значит, к сожалению, нет. В виртуальных выставках пока такой поддержки нету, но еще раз Ханс подчеркивает, что это там меньше 1000 евро, это не очень дорого, и поэтому, значит, пожалуйста, организаторы выставки Båtappen Стокгольм-Мессе ждет вас и ваших заявок. Итак, мы затянули немножко на 10 минут нашу конференцию. В общем, вопросов у нас нету. Спикеры у нас выступили все, поэтому, если позволите, я подведу краткие итоги. Хочу поблагодарить всех спикеров, принявших участие в нашей конференции. Уважаемые коллеги, Российский экспортный центр работает для вас. Это замечательный сервисный инструмент. Пользуйтесь, пожалуйста, услугами всех продуктов, всех служб, всех сотрудников Российского экспортного центра. Сеть зарубежных представительств, финансовые инструменты, нефинансовые инструменты, школа экспортера. Базовая вещь, о которой говорили очень многие спикеры, базовая вещь, базовый рецепт успеха – это конкурентоспособный товар. Если у вас есть конкурентоспособный товар, это самое главное. Все остальное очень важно, но это технические моменты, потому что можно достать деньги, можно обучить людей, можно решить технические проблемы, связанные с сертификацией, да и с поиском партнеров. Если способного товара нету, ну, очень сложно, тогда будет очень сложно, тогда будете тратить массу усилий, но, к сожалению, результат будет не очень высокий. Поэтому, пожалуйста, пользуйтесь всеми этими каналами. Естественно, торговое представительство. Еще раз благодарю Александра Владимировича Абрамова, Александра Витальевича Аникина. Спасибо вам большое. Было очень интересно послушать о рынках Швеции и Норвегии. Уважаемые экспортеры, обращайтесь в торговое представительство. Очень важно понимать особенности ведения бизнеса в той или иной стране, особенности поведения потребителей, особенности, так сказать, финансирования проектов и так далее. Опыт огромный. Представительства работают уже десятки лет в этих странах, поэтому, пожалуйста, не изобретайте велосипед, уж извините, так скажу. Пользуйтесь всеми этими инструментами, это очень важно. Уважаемые коллеги, конференция подходит к концу, но у нас начинается наша бизнес-миссия, она продлится месяц, как говорил Сергей Александрович в начале. Мы с вами проведем в общей сложности более 100 встреч с зарубежными байерами. У всех участников бизнес-миссии есть наши контакты, есть данные, контакты персональных менеджеров. Будем сообщать вам графики ваших встреч, согласовывать эти графики с вами и проводить. Желаю всем вам плодотворных встреч и результативных контрактов. Еще раз спасибо всем спикерам, всем слушателям и, конечно же, Российскому экспортному центру. Благодарю всех за внимание. На правах модератора объявляю конференцию закрытой.